Hello and welcome to our ABE 205 project, presented by Justin Larimore, Jason Keating-Silp, Anna Amaya, and Faraz Antoon. As the majority of our group is studying biomedical engineering, we wanted to do our project on a human health-related topic. For deciding what to do our project on, we had to consider a topic we cared about, variable inputs, equations, literature about our topic, platform, and code. After doing extensive research, we ultimately decided to do a weight fitness plan program. The goal of our program is to model weight projection given several variable user inputs. Our approach to this project involved many steps. First, we had to do research about our topic. We primarily used Google Scholar for our research. Next, we had to decide what our user inputs would be. We found many scholarly articles that provided information regarding user inputs. This is why we chose the variables listed on the sheet. Similarly, the equations we used were based on the articles we looked over. Then, we chose to use Google Sheets and JavaScript as the platform for our project. Given the variable inputs, in addition to our experience with JavaScript earlier in the semester, Google Sheets seemed like the most logical choice. The last step of the project was writing the code for the variable inputs. In the end, we successfully created a Google Sheet that models weight projection given several variable user inputs.
So for this part, we're going to talk about the variables that we used in our program. The program is going to ask you to put your name, it's going to ask you to put your gender and your birthday so you can calculate your age. It's going to ask you to choose an activity level, and it's going to ask you to put your weight, your height, and the day you're going to start the program and the day you're going to end the program, so it can calculate the days for you. And it will give you your final weight based on the average calorie intake per day. So it's going to give you your initial BMI and the final BMI. This program is going to also give you a chart, and it's going to give you your weight and BMI based on the days, which is the period that you choose from the start date to the end date. To run this program, let's go to fitness plan, go to your info, and then let's provide those infos to our program. So let's put the name, let's put the current weight, so let's say 145. What will be your average? Let's say I'm going to take 2,500 calories a day. What's your height? 70. How active are you? Let's say somewhat active. Male or female? You can choose male. You can go down. What day do you want to begin? Let's say I want to begin today. So I'm going to put the date of today, and I'm going to end in 1 month, so I have a period of 30 days. And what's your birthday? So you can calculate your age, and let's hit calculate. As we can see, now this program is going to generate all of this info based on your input, and it's going to graph it for you throughout the 30 days period that you chose. Let's close this, and let's see. We have a name, gender, birthday, age, everything is right here. It will give you the weight and the BMI throughout the days, which is, you can go down as 30 days. It will give you a chart with BMI versus time, and a chart for your weight versus time. If I change this 2,500 to like 6,000, I'm gonna see the BMI versus time is going up, and my weight versus time is going up, because in that case I would be gaining weight, not losing weight.
For our project, we considered two different equations, one for BMI and one for weight. The weight equation we used was taken from the literature of A Modern Introduction to Differential Equations textbook by Henry J. Ricardo. In this equation, we are factoring in the user's input as seen in the function editor. The graph below plots the weight versus time. BMI is commonly used to determine whether patients are underweight, healthy weight, overweight, or clinically obese. Those with higher BMIs are at a greater risk of developing diabetes, stroke, cancer, and cardiovascular disease. BMI is calculated by taking a person's weight and height. In the metric equation, a person's weight in kilograms is divided by their height in meters squared. In the empirical system, a person's weight in pounds is multiplied by 703 divided by the square height in inches. As a person loses weight, their BMI will go down. However, those with larger muscular mass will get a higher BMI. In the body mass index chart, white is underweight, green is normal, yellow is overweight, dark yellow is obese, and red is extremely obese. BMI is a simple and fast way to screen and identify any possible weight problems for adults. For the code, each cell was assigned a variable: height, weight, and BMI. The program grabs each of the values from the cell and runs them through the equation and through the if statement. If the BMI is lower than 18.5, then the person is underweight. If the BMI is under 25, then the person is at a normal or average rate. If the BMI is greater than 30, they're overweight or obese.
For this part of the video, I'm going to explain some of the code that makes this program possible in Google Sheets. Upon opening the Google Sheet, the function onOpen runs. It creates a menu entitled Fitness Plan and adds the items Your Information and BMI Chart. As you can see here, it adds a tab called Fitness Plan. Under the Fitness Plan tab, you can see it added Your Information and BMI Chart. So what exactly do these do? First, I'll explain the BMI chart. When you click on the BMI chart, it runs the function Open Sidebar. Under this function, you can see that it calls for the HTML file index, as can be seen right here. And when it reads this HTML file, it creates this sidebar with a picture of a BMI chart taken from the internet, so a user can check how they're doing with their BMI, if they are average or underweight or above weight. Here's the index HTML file. It's pretty simple. As you can see, it calls for the style sheet right here, but the main part is this image with the link, and then it's aligned in the middle. So what happens when you click on Your Information? This one's a little more complex than the BMI chart. So it creates a dialog box that says, please provide the following information. And then the function calls for the HTML file dialog. Under the dialog HTML file, it asks the user for their name, what is their current weight in pounds, what will be your average calorie intake during the program, and so forth. Each of these little blocks right here is a new question. This is what frames what is in the pop-up window when the user clicks on the Your Information tab. Here's what the user sees when they click on it. What is your name? This is created from this block of text. The input type is text, with the variable name as name. What is your current weight in pounds? As you can see here, the input type is number. Within the user inputs, there is a drop-down window for the input how active are you. Under this window you can see the user has the options of very active, somewhat active, not active. There also is a date input. As you can see here, it asks when they want to end their weight loss. When the user clicks on this box, it pops up a calendar in which they can choose which date they want to end. So when the user presses the submit button, it inputs all of their information into the spreadsheet where the code tells it to go, as you can see here. And then we also have code which calculates the number of days and then makes the days go all the way down in a nice fashion in which the background is colored and there are borders. Here's the function that asks the user how active they are. There is an if-else statement. If the user picks active, then it will output in F3. If the user is somewhat active, it will do the same thing. If the user is not active, it will do the same thing. Depending on what they pick depends on what is inputted into the cell F3. As I was talking about earlier, when the user presses calculate, it sends all of their inputs to the spreadsheet in these areas. Here's the function that does this. Function on execute click. Here are all the variables that are sent by the user when they click calculate. Here's just an example of one of the variables or the user inputs code for this function.